Hey everyone, welcome back to Britt, and on today's video I'm making One Piece characters as Jolly Rogers, and this one is of Luffy and Zoro. And here's what they look like when they are all finished. And the materials that I'll be using for this video are as follows. My cutting mat. If I am using a pair of scissors I won't need it, but if I'm using my X-Acto knife I will need it. I'm also going to be using two pieces of black felt, one that's full and one that's just a scrap piece, white felt, yellow felt, and red felt. And I'm using this picture of the straw hat Jolly Roger for Luffy. I'm also using some more black, white, yellow, and this picture that I got off of Google of Zoro's Jolly Roger, and I'll be using white, black, red, and yellow string, as well as some pins and a needle. I'll post a link for those Jolly Rogers if you have a hard time finding them. I'm also going to be using this wood rod that I got at Michael's. I'm going to cut it in half. And instead of using black as the background for Zoro, I'm using this green to match his waistband that he has. So let's start, and I'm going to do Straw Hat Luffy first. The easiest way to do this is to cut out all of the pieces that you will need to cut out, and that is all the white pieces, and the hat's going to be yellow with a red band across it. I use my X-Acto because it is so much easier to use than cutting it with scissors. I'm much more accurate with my X-Acto knife. And then you're going to take all those pieces you just cut and you're going to pin them to the color fabric that they need to go to. If they have details like this one has the eyes and the nose on it, you cut those out next. So don't cut the details off until you cut the bigger part of the fabric pattern. Make sure you cut those out nicely. This is where you're going to need your scissors, of course. You can't use your X-Acto knife to cut out pieces like that. And like I said, then you take your pieces that need details, like the eyes and the nose, and pin that to their respective color and cut those out. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take those black pieces for the eyes and the nose, and I'm going to pin them using the paper as a stencil or pattern. Pin them to the white fabric. And once they are pinned where I want them, I'm going to go ahead and thread a needle with some black thread and sew them all on. Now, if you guys aren't very good at sewing, you could probably get some fabric glue and use that. It seeps through with felt, and it's just so much easier to just sew. Once I have all the pieces cut out and ready to go, I'm going to use my paper cut out as my stencil and put everything onto the flag where I want it to go. I'm putting it over to the left-hand side of a piece of black felt because on the right hand side I'm going to cut it up and put it onto the wooden stick thing that I got. It's balsa wood. I don't know why I called it a stick thing. And I'm going to be very careful to make sure these are pinned where I want them exactly because I'm just going to sew them right after this. To sew all this on, I'm using the perspective color of the felt that I am sewing around, and I add the teeth after I'm done the draw because they are so small and I want to make sure that I can get them on in perfect detail. So that's going to take a while to do that for you guys. And once that's finished, you can begin on your Roronoa Zoro if you want to make one. To do this one, I just pinned the whole picture of the Jolly Roger onto some scrap black felt, and then I cut it out of that black felt, because most of the background is black, and so I figured it'd be easier to sew everything onto that piece than to sew it all together onto the flag. And the next thing I'm going to do is take my X-Acto knife, or my scissors if it's easier for you guys, and I'm going to cut out all of the other shapes that are not black in the Jolly Roger. And I'm going to go ahead and pin all of the pieces that are white to the white felt that I have. And once they're all pinned, I can cut them out. And then the only other color, the main color is yellow, so I'm going to go ahead and pin all of those pieces to the yellow fabric and cut that out as well. And once I'm finished with all that, I'm going to cut out all my detail pieces out of the black felt, and those little white squares in the middle are going to be done in white felt, and then I sew them all on like so. Once I'm finished sewing all of the details on, I'm going to go ahead and sew everything to the black piece of fabric that I used earlier and cut out the Jolly Roger shape, and it'll look like this when it is finished. Then I can take that Jolly Roger and I'm going to put it onto the green felt over to the left hand side, or right hand side, sorry, not left. And once that's pinned where I want it, I can go ahead and sew all around that. And for this one, I'm using black to sew all around it because of the black background. Once both of my flags are done, I'm going to go ahead and I cut two little slits in the top and the bottom, and then cut out the middle part. I'm going to take those two slits and double knot them around the rod that I have. You may want to add a little hot glue or some kind of glue, or just even sew it on so that it is secured really well. And I'm doing the same thing to my Zoro flag. I want to give it that feel like it's on the Mary, so I wanted to tie it on. And here's what they both look like once they are finished. Thank you guys for watching, and my plan is to actually do all of the straw hats. So in my next video, I am going to have, I think, Nami and Sanji, I think. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a like. Don't forget to leave a comment down and tell me what other characters I should do besides the straw hats. Check out my last video and add me on Facebook.